Has cemented himself as one of boxing's best pound-for-pounders after a seventh-round knockout of Ryan Garcia Saturday. So what should be next for Davis?
Well, listen, who knows, because you got to see Devin Haney fight Lomachenko, and stuff like that. But he owns the lightweight division. He's the face of boxing right now because Terrence Crawford and Errol Spence Jr. won't get in the damn ring against one another. Obviously, Tyson Fury already dealt with Deontay Wilder. We get all of that. Here's my biggest thing. And David is that. I think he'll beat Canelo, and I love Canelo, but I think Canelo. Here's my problem with Ryan Garcia. I'm so disappointed in him. The kid is skilled, power in both hands, lightning, speed, the whole bit. You don't walk straight in standing up to Gervonta Davis. You're the longer, slimmer fighter. You stay away, you use your jab, and you move. He came in there trying to knock Gervonta out with a point to prove. Gervonta is too skilled, too powerful, and too savvy. He chirped and baited him, caught him in the second round, dropped him, and then caught him with a body shot to the liver in the seventh round. Because you were standing right in front of him. How do you walk into a fight against Gervonta Davis if you're the taller, longer fighter with that mentality? Ryan Garcia made a mistake. He showed his youth and got exposed. Now back to the drawing board. Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube.
First of all, congratulations to Gervonta Davis. You fought a hell of a fight. My hat's off to you. You had a great game plan. Beautiful. Proud of you. You made this fight happen. You wanted this fight, and I'm sure a lot of fighters will learn from you that you're daring to be great. But I do want to clarify why Bernard Hopkins and I weren't at the post-fight press conference. First of all, Bernard Hopkins was accused during the weigh-in of having testosterone cream on his hands and touching Gervonta Davis when he only wanted to help him because he was going to fall off the stage. So PBC, Gervonta's promoter, banned him from everything. He couldn't get inside the ring. He couldn't do anything during the promotion. And so as for myself, my security team told me, boss, we got to get the fuck out of here because I received death threats. You guys don't know this. I received death threats throughout the whole week, and they just said it was simply too dangerous, so we got out of there. And plus, Eric Gomez, who is my president, who was right there, front and center with Ryan Garcia, so there was no issue, no problems. This is all coming from all these PBC minions that are just attacking Ryan, attacking Golden Boy. But it's all good. It's all good. Ryan Garcia made this happen. Tank made this happen. We had a great fight. The best man won. My hat's off to you. And again, Tank Davis, you're a great fighter. Ryan Garcia, I have.
We have breaking news here on NBA Today. According to our senior insider Adrian Wojnarowski, De'Aaron Fox has fractured the tip of his left index finger in Game 4. Woj reports that there's still optimism he's going to try and play in Game 5 on Tuesday. He would need to play with a protective covering on his finger. He's going to be listed as doubtful. This is according to our senior insider, Adrian Wojnarowski. And Ramona, I'm told that this happened late in this game. And you know what that means. Then we saw him make big buckets already with this fractured finger. So Richard, I'll start with you here. How concerned should we be here for Fox?
Well, again, I think this is an game threshold. Is this something that I think a player can play through? Yes. Do I think De'Aaron Fox is the type of player that if he can, yes. I'll take you back to John Morant. We saw John Morant land on an already injured hand, see all of his fingers bent back, and was still able to come back and have the performance that he did. I think this means too much to De'Aaron Fox. If he can, he will. Ultimately, this is something that players can play through. There's a number of players, CJ McCollum, different guys have been playing through like little ligament tears, little fractures, stress fractures. This is something that in the postseason you can play through. Regular season you would sit.
Yeah, fortunately when it's your finger, like the rhythm is not necessarily all powered through one or two fingers. So that's something you feel like you can be comfortable playing through, as Richard said. But I'm someone who has known De'Aaron Fox since he was in high school. We both went to Cypher Independent School District. This guy's a competitor. And so if he's able to play, I would not be surprised if he still is able to play at a very high level, because as you said, Malika, he hit that shot likely in the circumstance where his finger was injured. Now again, after some time, the adrenaline comes down, it might feel different. You might have to start throbbing. Passion might feel different, but knowing this guy, knowing his toughness, and knowing what he's been through this entire season to get this team exactly where it needs to be, I would not be surprised if he still pushed through.
You just put a little needle.
When you get the water, let me ask you right here, okay? You guys both could choose. When you shoot a ball, and your index finger, it leaves your middle finger first, and your index finger last, right?
Everybody has a different shot motion. One thing I will say is that it will impact him.
Oh, yeah.
You don't feel it. But is this something that can keep you out of the game?
Right.
I think
At this point,
Particularly knowing De'Aaron Fox, but also this is the playoffs, and this is the first time that this group has been in this position. This is when I spoke to De'Aaron after the game. He was sitting in his locker, Perk, and he was like, we needed to get that one. But also I have all the confidence in the world going into this next game. Do you think that this is going to impact the Kings in a sizable way, Perk?
You know what? I still think De'Aaron Fox is the Texas boy. And look, it can't be no worse than this, okay? It cannot be no worse than this finger right I played through this. So what I'm saying is this. I believe De'Aaron Fox is like living in this moment. He's playing exceptional basketball right now, and it didn't affect them late in the fourth quarter last night. And look, they have no such thing. They have some things behind the scenes. When the doctors tell you it's 75%, they gotta have him pain-free, then he'll be able to go out there on the floor and deliver. I think 14.
I want to bring senior NBA insider Adrian Wojnarowski back to our show here. Woj, we know that De'Aaron Fox has fractured his finger. What more can you tell us?
1, 2, 3, 4.
There's still some hope that De'Aaron Fox will be able to play Game 5, that crucial game back in Sacramento, with the series tied 2-2. I'm told he would need a protective covering on that finger. I'm told it's the very tip of that left index finger on his shooting hand. The X-rays came back with a fracture there. But I think there's still some optimism. He'll be able to give it a go. Now, how effective he can be, how it impacts his grip, his shot, certainly those are the concerns. But the expectation is he get fitted or get a covering on that finger on the hand that would perhaps allow him to play. He's listed as doubtful right now. But again, certainly with the stakes right now at this point in the season and in the playoffs, I think De'Aaron Fox certainly is going to try to do whatever he can to get on the court. And there's optimism that at the very least he's going to give it a try Tuesday night.
10,
with the series tied 2-2.
Yeah, we were all talking about how competitive De'Aaron Fox is with stakes this high. It would be surprising to see him at least not give it a go.
100 sit-ups right there.
Thank you so much for stopping by.
And that's maturity right there. Let's dive into what Draymond is actually talking about. Because Draymond coming off the bench, he actually helped the Warriors with the floor spacing, and consequently, they're they went to 30 or so a game when they're in their homestand in the playoffs. And now Draymond is back with his confidence, his team playing well, offense training. He's back to bringing balance on defense. As the closest defender, he held the Kings to 43% percentage in the restricted area, which is fourth best in the playoffs. It's not easy because the Warriors, they switch a lot of screens, which means he's probably back one step, and he's still getting it done. And I'll show you exactly how that happens. This is a pick and roll. His job is to hedge. Look at Sabonis. He has a line drive to the rim. This should be an automatic, at least dunk, right? Instead, there's nice help defense. He's there to contest the shot, and Wiggins rebound. Big factor, another help defender on the perimeter that helps Draymond out. Again, watch this. This is a 2-on-1. You've got one player here. You've got Sabonis that can clean it up. Watch how active he is. Goes up, contests the shot, out of the play, almost out of bounds.
Right.
Sabonis is there, block it, and then you know what he did after.
And time and score in that one.
He flexed, time and score 100%. And all of this set the scene for his game-saving defense because Draymond guarded De'Aaron Fox in the second half and held him to 2 of 7 shooting.
Yep.
This was key late. Let's look at it. Thank you, Director Kathy, baby. All right, second half, he started guarding him. Watch this right here. Nice little attachment, contest, force a lot of contested twos. And those are shots he normally makes, but when you switch defenders, that's a nice adjustment. Look at the time and score. Final play of the game. Steph doing his thing. He knows how defense is coming. This is where you make a calculated decision. 51% on twos, 25% on threes. Draymond stays active on the ball. Steph has his back. That is Warriors championship level defense.
Yep.
They didn't even need to talk.
Right.
They just were active. They were there. They knew each other like bros. They're hugging. That's what won them the game.
Yeah.
It was them getting their offense back because of his unselfish nature coming off the bench, and then getting their defense back. He knows exactly what to do. He's willing to take, including the most player this year.
Yeah, absolutely. That's why Steve said when I spoke to him at halftime, he's like, you know what, we're going to make an adjustment here because yes, we don't like having two non-shooters on the floor in Kevon Looney and Draymond Green at the same time. But we're going to take a little bit of a risk here because we need Draymond's defense here on De'Aaron Fox. And then we saw Harrison Barnes say, if I can come back from his poor shooting in 2016, then I can do anything. But now we're flipping the page. We're going back to Sacramento, Ramona. Yeah. You were at that game in Golden State as well. So should we expect Draymond to come off of the bench? How did we get here?
So we got here because Draymond watched Game 3 from home. And that game was not close, right? So he gets in his car before the game's even over, and he's watching it like he's watching game tape. And he's like, I see what's working. And I see Kevon Looney having an amazing game. 20 rebounds in that game, 9 assists. And they played better with just one big on the floor, and Jordan Poole played great. We need to have just one big, and if someone's going to sit, it should be me. And when I spoke to him after the game, he said, when I became a starter, David Lee lost his starting spot. David Lee was an all-star back when Draymond took his spot. And he didn't lose his spot because Steve Kerr made a decision. It was because David Lee got hurt in training camp, and Draymond just played great. And the Warriors, as we know them, were created during that stretch. And then David Lee came back, and Steve Kerr said, no, we're going to stay with what it is. And Dre said that was one of the most validating things that could ever happen to me because I believed I should be out there. And David Lee put his arm around him and supported him. This is a veteran all-star who just lost his starting spot, put his arm around him and said, here's what you need to do. Draymond said...
That doesn't sound like David Lee. That doesn't sound like David Lee.
Well, he said, this is how the world comes back around. Like, if that's how I got my job, I got to do the right thing here. Kevon Looney just had a career game.
Yes,
he was there when Draymond couldn't be there, and he should not be sitting that game. And so I think that I don't know if we see him come off the bench in this next game, but you know that Kevon Looney's been playing great. And Jordan Poole is going to be a starter for that team. The question of when and who goes to the bench when he does. And so Draymond raising his hand after the suspension to do that, I thought was a big move for the Warriors, and it's something that they can do at any time now going forward.
Yeah, no, I 100% agree. Draymond, you love everything that he brings to the table, but it's just like you just want. There's a level of maturity. Even there where he got that block and he screamed. Yep. He screamed at Sabonis. You love but we already seen Claxton get kicked out of a game for 2 taunting technicals. One for dunking on Embiid and staring at him. Another one for dunking on Embiid and walking over top of him. Draymond, when you block that shot, if you're screaming at him, that's taunting. Then you've already have 1 technical. Now you're thrown out of the game again. They are within their rights to give you another technical. Now you're a Hall of Famer. You're all of this, so they're going to give you the benefit of the doubt. But ultimately, you were close to getting another technical for screaming and yelling at him after the block.
Yeah.
I don't want that from him, and that's the maturity part that we have to see. Because if the Warriors do advance, the technicals are going with Draymond there. That's the biggest issue.
Can I say this about Draymond real quick?
Okay.
Let me appreciate this brother, because what he said in his post-game interview and what he said on his podcast is the true definition of losing yourself in the team. When you talk about coming back to the squad and giving yourself up and saying that, hey, I'm willing to come off the bench because it's better for the team. It's better for us overall because the goal that y'all are trying to reach is bigger than one individual. And if you reach that goal, everybody is going to get what they deserve anyway. Number 2, when Draymond spoke on the entitlement part, This is a message to all the basketball players out there in the world, not just in the league, but AAU and to their parents and to kids in high school. I keep telling people, it's not who starts, but it's who finishes the game.
Yep.
And in the crunch time when it matters the most, guess who was in the game at the elbow clogging up that lane for as De'Aaron Fox driving? It was Draymond. So I just thought it was a great thing for him to go out there and enlighten the people on how he took that lesser role and sacrifice. And also, he is very smart because he didn't hurt his bag. He helped his bag. And later down the line on in his career, guess what's going to happen? You could see him playing it out just like Udonis Haslem, an extension of the coach from 5 years from now, writing his own way out.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN Plus.
More confidence in the Warriors or the Kings to win the series now?
Well, Molly, last time I checked, the Kings are the team that have home court. The Kings are the team that actually have the best fan base right now in the postseason. It is rowdy in that arena, and the reason I bring that up is home court is to play a huge part in this series. So the Kings still have full control over this series. When I look at the game yesterday, I'm looking at it and I'm like, you know what? Okay, the Kings lost. They had a great look by Harrison Barnes to actually win the game, a game-winning look. And they played pretty damn well offensively. And De'Aaron Fox ain't going.
Best first-round series, hands down. Kings and Warriors, and Game 4 was another doozy. The reigning champs trying to tie things up at Chase Center, where they came in with a 12-1 record in the postseason. The Kings trying to join the
I praise God and everything, but he drink a lot, he gamble a lot, like he do all this stuff. He just, I don't know. Not saying that it's just don't say like I'm just so this highly praise God person, like I'm a saint. I don't do nothing wrong. If you gonna be somebody like do your little dirt and think nobody gonna get back to it.
You think he's a hypocrite in a way?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. He is. He is.
Is it just that one?
Even like on the, not to cut you out, even like on RSS. He was on a jet. He was on a jet gambling. Like, what are you doing that for? You need to relax. Do I think he's a cornball? Yeah, you just try to put that in my mouth. But I do think he's a cornball, though. Facts. Because I just like what he do all the time. He try to play something.
Gervonta Davis would open up 2017 in the deep end as he looked to challenge for his first world title against IBF.
The Philadelphia Eagles are a team whose strength is currently on the offensive side of the ball, but just because this is their strength, that doesn't mean they don't want to continue to add to it, as the team has made it clear in the past that they know offenses are what dominates in this league, and with the NFL draft approaching, they have the perfect opportunity to further solidify their offense for this season and for years to come, and we've heard rumors that they could be looking to do just that, whether that be by drafting someone early in the first round or making a huge blockbuster. We don't know, but in this video we're going to look at some of the possible scenarios for the Eagles in which they can upgrade their offense through this draft. But before we do that, if you want to see more consistent Eagles content like this, go subscribe. Notifications. We're going to be live for the first round of the NFL draft on Thursday, so again, make sure you subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss it. Now with that being said, let's get into this video. So like I just said, the NFL draft begins on Thursday, and things could get crazy really fast for the Eagles as there's a lot of different things that they could do in this draft. They have 2 first-round selections and 4 top 100 picks overall, so obviously they have the draft capital to make some big and impactful additions to their team, and I feel like more so this year than in years past, the Eagles' plan for this draft is pretty unpredictable, and I feel like nobody really knows what the Eagles are going to do, but Eagles owner Jeffrey Lurie may have dropped us a hint in regards to that just under a month ago.
Offenses dominate in this league, and that's why we've always focused more resource allocation, on making sure we have an outstanding offense, because it is very hard to stop. We've always wanted to have dynamic offense and know that you can have a really good defense, but it's very hard to stop a really dynamic offense.
And obviously we've talked about this clip on this channel before, and it doesn't mean the Eagles are 100% going to go offense in the first round of this draft, but it definitely makes you think that that possibility is a reality, and it definitely would not be shocking if the Eagles did decide to take an offensive player early in.
Has this left index finger fracture is what they're calling it, doubtful for game 5, right? You said you had an injury like that,
Still
right?
broken. Tip of my finger right here on my right hand, shooting finger, my 4th finger.
So for De'Aaron Fox to be able to come out and play at the level that he plays, do you think it's possible, and what should we expect from the Kings in that regard?
I think you may see him try to play. There's nothing you can do for it. You can't put a splint on the tip of your finger, but it's pain tolerance. Maybe they can numb it up before the game, but for him, all your feel and touches in your fingers, especially for shooters. And then when you look at what De'Aaron Fox has to do, run the team, handle the ball, get everybody in position. And Chris, this is really tough right now, because even though Sacramento lost those 2 games in Golden State, they had a chance to win game 4. And coming back at game 5, we know how bad the Warriors have been on the road, and you could say the Sacramento Kings have an advantage coming back home, but without him or that injury, this is tough, man. Look at the numbers in his first 4 career playoff games. Look at the company.
Only LeBron James scored more points in the last 30 years in his first 4 playoff games. He's tied with Luka and Anthony.
And you can make an argument that this guy is playing as well as anybody in the playoffs right now.
That's what that stat just told us.
Yep.
You know who else is playing at a high level? Jimmy Butler, what's his status for tonight's game? Absolutely. Made history for the Heat as well in the first 3 playoff games this year for Miami. We'll discuss next on Playoff Central Live. He's back after missing the last 2 games. Played only 11 minutes in game 1. The MVP finalist, the 2-time MVP, the finals MVP, Giannis will return tonight for the Bucks, who are down 2-1 in the first round. The Lakers lead the series with Memphis 2-1. They have 3 players averaging over 20 a game. LeBron, AD, and Rui Hachimura. It's a doubleheader on TNT. Welcome to Playoff Central Live. Chris Miles here with my guy, Sam Mitchell. You know, Sam, they say it's not how you start, but it's how you finish.
It's how you walk into the building. Did you see the king?
I see how you walk into the building, too, just like
There's
that.
only one me, baby, but it's only one LeBron.
The Steve Kerr era in the playoffs. So when he comes into the game, this is what immediately.
Isn't it crazy how much can change in less than a week in the NBA? On the 18th of April, the Sacramento Kings recorded a 114-106 win over the Golden State Warriors, which included some controversy.
So he grabs Draymond's leg right there. Now Draymond steps on him.
Were you surprised Dre was suspended?
I was not surprised at all, but incredibly disappointed. I'm disgusted with the NBA this morning. I'm sick and tired of everybody acting like this is just another game.
And it also included some hot takes.
Would you agree with me on that? I think he's the best one in the series.
6 days later, and the Golden State Warriors did what they always do. They won at home. But did you really think anything different was going to happen? Did everyone just forget who the Golden State Warriors have?
Curry pulls up from 3 and rings it up against Barnes. Steph pulls. Got it. Mitchell on Curry. Slammed on the brakes. Oh my goodness. Curry.
Wait, hold up. Did Steph Curry really just do that? Let's rewind this for a second. Steph brings the ball up the floor. He dribbles around one defender. Mitchell stays attached. He crosses over, steps back, and thinks he's hit, but he isn't, yet he still somehow makes the shot whilst falling backwards and shooting from his hip. And it's plays like this which have encapsulated Steph's career and Steph in these playoffs. With the Warriors down 0-2 for the first time in his career, he carried the Dubs to back-to-back wins, averaging 34 points in the 2 must-win games, and the scoring or assist numbers still don't do his impact justice. If you want an idea of Steph's impact, Loon runs a handoff with Wiggs. Keep in mind, Davion Mitchell is face guarding Steph at this point and was doing so all game long. Steph shakes him for a Dre handoff, and would you look at that? Both defenders collapse on Curry, leaving Dre with a wide open dunk. On this play, Dante gives the ball to Dre. Once again, it looks as though the Dubs are about to run a handoff, and this forces Sabonis to slide over. Worried about both the handoff and the backdoor cut, Dre then gives it back to Dante before slipping the screen. And with Sabonis out of position, plus Davion's back facing the ball, Dre has yet another wide open lane. Steph did not even touch the ball on either of these plays, and he created wide open layups. Wide open! And don't get me started on how hard he has to work to get the shots he gets. Here are some examples of where Davion Mitchell is guarding him. And it's not just when he has the ball in his hands either. Mitchell wasn't even looking at any other Warriors player on the floor. Just look at this. Every Kings player has one eye on the ball except Mitchell, who is worried only about Stephen Curry. Despite this, the Sacramento Kings still have zero answers for the greatest point guard ever. And this is why I was laughing at people claiming the Warriors were done. Not only do you have a top 5 player of all time, but the Warriors have a record of 35-8 at home this year, and they have now won 13 of their last 14 games in the playoffs since last year at Chase Center. And let's not forget, the Warriors still play the most beautiful basketball in the league. Steph Curry has the ball up top. Dre comes to set a screen. Steph kicks it to Paul instead. Paul then drives and kicks it to Dante. Dante then drives, collapses the defense, and kicks it back to Paul.
More to Clay for three. Got it at the buzzer.
And this play right here summed up the Warriors' dominant third quarter. Trailing 65-69 at the half, the Dubs put up nearly 40 points in the third, outscoring the Kings by 14. And there's one particular stat that is very important. Do you see this stat right here? The Warriors only recorded 2 turnovers in the third quarter, and that has been a major difference for them these last 2 games. Just to put things into perspective, the Warriors had 20 turnovers in Game 2 alone. They've had 21 in Games 3 and 4 combined. And this makes all the difference, because over the first 4 games of the series, the Dubs have been more efficient in every single game. Despite what people say about them being old and slow and the Kings being the greatest offense ever, the only reason the Warriors aren't up 3-1 is because of the uncharacteristic mistakes that they've made. But if the Dubs can stay out of their own way, well, it's safe to say Sacramento will be hearing this. However, I want to ask you guys a question. How many players in NBA history can put up this stat line? Yes, 3 of 14 from the field and still have a major impact on the game. Well, one of those players is Draymond Green, because don't be fooled by the box score. He was at his brilliant best defensively. I want to show you 2 plays. On this first play, there's 5 minutes left in the game with the Warriors up 1. Andrew Wiggins is down behind play, so the Kings have a 5-on-4. Fox kicks it to Murray, who kicks it to a rolling Sabonis. And let me pause right here. Draymond is in a 1-on-2 situation. Sabonis just has to find the man under the rim, but the moment he puts the ball on the floor, Draymond strips him before then tapping it further away, and Wiggins is there to recover it from out of nowhere, making an equally impressive defensive play. And then on this play, there are less than 2 minutes left in the game with only 1 score separating the teams. Draymond is guarding Sabonis. Barnes makes a dart to the rim, which Dre slides over to contest before then getting back from out of bounds and blocking the next shot. And if you watch this again, there's one other player that pops up to make a play on this possession. Yes, Andrew Wiggins again. And if you thought Draymond Green was the only one making clutch defensive plays, think again, because not only did Wiggs have another good scoring night, 4 blocks,
And more breaking news, the NBA has suspended Hawks guard DeJounte Murray for a game without pay for making inappropriate contact and verbally abusing a game official. The incident occurred at the end of yesterday's Game 4 loss of the Celtics. The Hawks
Steph, can you just walk us through what happened there? 40 seconds left. We had to call timeout. Didn't have a timeout to call.
I knew we challenged, but I didn't realize when we lost the challenge that we didn't have any timeouts left. I know Coach mentioned he took the blame for it. As I ain't gonna lie, I thought it was the smartest play in the world. When I got the ball, turned around, saw a trap, realized there was no real outlets. Instead of turning it over, it's kind of the heady play, but it turned out not to be. I looked over at the bench and everybody was shaking their head. So it was an unfortunate situation in that respect, but good learning lesson. Thankfully, we came away with the win, but good learning lesson on how important all those details are. We know it, but knowing timeouts, knowing the situation, it was just an unfortunate sequence right there.
What did you think about the 2, I guess, decisions that involved Draymond today? Him coming off the bench and then in the second half starting him on Fox.
I mean, we talk about it a lot around here, around doing whatever it takes to win and everybody being able to be flexible on what their role is, what they're asked to do from the top all the way to the bottom. You know, it's well documented. We've all most of us have been in situations where that's become a decision. Last year in the playoffs with me, Wiggs coming back at the beginning of this year's playoffs, Draymond, from game 2 to game 4. So it's just being ready to play no matter what the situation calls for, the versatility of our team, and the fact that we know each other so well that he doesn't start in the first half, starts the second half, matchup change, and we kind of pick up right where we left off. So it's just a credit to him, obviously accepting the role. It's a credit to just our 1 through 15 being able to, keep the identity of how we play no matter who's starting or who's, out there.
Over here, Steph, the last possession when you guys were on offense is about a 4-second differential. You took the shot, I think, with about 12 left. Take us through that possession, please.
It's always a balance of, playing the clock and trying to find the best shot, because obviously if I make the floater, we're up 3 with 10 seconds left, and you like that kind of position to have one more stop. Obviously, I missed. There's a little fight for the rebound. They call timeout with 10 seconds left, so I live with that decision knowing D. Fox kind of went for a phantom steal. I had the whole lane kind of wide open, made a decision. I live with it. Wish I would have made it, obviously, but we were able to get one last stop. So that's the nature of the playoffs, where I analyzed that possession, figure out what I could do different. Had they made the shot, it'd be a different context, but you play to the buzzer.
Steph, can you describe the level of desperation you still need to have in a Game 5, a swing game, knowing that the winner has a chance to win the series on Friday?
I think we understand how we, bounce back in these last 2 games, the things that we've done differently and the physicality we've played with. Bottle that up, take it to Sacramento. The biggest thing that we've noticed is just, the possession game is everything in this series because of the pace and because of the way that they play. If you give them, turnovers, they had 18 points off turnovers tonight. Last game was a little bit better, night and day different than game 1 and 2. So we have to maintain our composure on that front. Turnovers and offensive rebounds in game 5. Like you said, it's a great opportunity. We know we have to win one in that building to get out of this series. Might as well be game 5.
Can you kind of take us through that? Can you kind of take us through that final stop, getting Fox to give up the ball and the communication that you and Dre had to have together in that moment?
I think it's just about being one step ahead. They knew, based on where I was, they were going to try to bring me into the pick and roll. And all you want to do is just try to keep a body in front of Fox. You know that down 1, they're in the bonus. You can't foul. And probably going to get a shot off. It's just you want to make it as tough as possible. Was able to kind of make him change directions. He bobbed the ball a little bit, and then I felt Draymond on my right side, and he was right there in the right position. And then right there is just a read of knowing he picked the ball up. Draymond's got him squared up. I'm not doing anything at that point, so go chase HB off the line. He got a clean look, but it was a late contest that I tried to get up there and bother it as much as possible. Make or miss league, and you just want to just think as much as possible through that 10 seconds before the shot gets up, because we just needed one stop.
Steph, Draymond said that after the game 3, he came and talked to you and thanked you for having his back, and as you noted, he just, by coming off the bench, it's kind of a part of a long Warriors history during this run of people going back to Iguodala, being able to sacrifice their ego. Does even though you obviously don't want him to be suspended, but did that whole thing kind of snap your culture? Has it been a force of reminding you guys who you are, or maybe you don't need a reminder?
The reminder was being down 0-2, but definitely up the ante with without him in game 3, understanding how important that game was, because we talked about it. You lose that game, the series is pretty much over. No teams come back from 0-3, so gave ourselves an opportunity to win a big game tonight, and he was a monster on defense. you know, just kind of plugging holes and being a disruptor. And to your point, that's exactly how we need to play. Everybody just being ready to, you know, take advantage of their minutes and, you know, do what they're asked to do when they're called to do it. That's the only way we get out of this series and do anything special this year in the playoffs. Just the way that we're built and the way that we're constructed and the history of how we've done things over the years.
Steph played 43 minutes tonight. Is this a case where you're telling Steve, hey, it's okay, press the minutes? Is he communicating with you? Do you have to approach the timeouts differently? He mentioned, I think, a couple days that you're kind of closing your eyes and almost meditating through some of your rests. Is there any different thing that you're feeling when you know you might be playing 40, 41, 43 a night?
I mean, it's the whole routine and process of how you get ready for games, how you take care of yourself from a recovery standpoint in between games, and you know, in the game when you come out, whether it's a timeout and you're going back out there, or you know your break's coming, being really intentional about, you know, maximizing the rest while you're over there. I know my rotation, I'm most likely coming out, you know, quarters 1 through 3, and then how the game is, being prepared to play the whole fourth, you know, like I did tonight and would have done had the game been closer. Game go fine, and it hasn't been any conversations of I need to come out or I'm playing too much, because, you know, you understand how important this moment is.
Hey, Steph, they over here. They in the fourth quarter they erased your 10-point lead and ended up taking the lead. After that, you scored 7 in the next 8 points for your team. Is that an active decision to start looking for your own shot a little bit more?
It might not look like it, but I'm always looking for my shot. Just because there's always going to be a double team or a trap or a lot of attention. So me not shooting does not mean I'm being passive. It just means you're reading the defense to make the right plays and get the ball moving, welcome the attention or the double teams and finding open shots for other guys. But the more you do that over the course of 48, the harder it is to defend, and more likely I'll find some openings. And then you always got to be ready and confident that you can knock those shots down. So, you know, Clay hit some timely ones in the third quarter. He hit a big one in the fourth. I was able to hit a couple. It doesn't really matter when it comes. It's just always staying aggressive, even though it might not be, you know, always with me in and up with a shot.
Steph, the Kings made 11 of 27 shots in three-point territory in that first half, and it looked like they was ready to roll because, you know, they haven't been shooting particularly well in that area. But in that third quarter, they only had one attempt and they made that. Keegan Murray made that. What was the Warriors doing to prevent them, you know, from getting off like that? Because one attempt, that's remarkable.
I mean, regular season they play a certain style that, you know, De'Aaron Fox can drive lanes and kick out the guys. He's obviously super fast, super talented. He had 38. He was pretty efficient all night. Keegan got off first time all series, and we need to figure out how to slow that down because, you know, he changes the dynamic of how they play when he's a threat from three. But for the most part, we've done a really good job of just trying to make them work for those type of looks, sticking to our game plan. So I think obviously the way that they shot the ball, you know, kept them in it, kept the momentum, or they gained momentum at certain points of the game because, you know, they got hot from threes. And we know in their building, their crowd gets into it. So we have to, you know, try to figure out what that third quarter really looked like and try to do it for all four in Game 5.
Like 3 more starting points.
Do I get all 3 or what? Steph, for so much of this championship era, you're the team that's making the plays down the stretch and closing. What does it feel like when things feel like they're not going your way, which has happened a lot this year, but What's it like? Is it just about surviving it, and that's what makes you champions, or is it just weird to be in a position where you're up and the game is pretty much over, and then things go wrong?
Man, every game is just a different challenge. You know, the regular season, playoffs, you know, teams are coming at you. You know, especially like this year, this whole year, as the defending champs, we're getting everybody's best shot, and you know, whether it was self-inflicted wounds or whether it's teams just getting hot or whatever it was, there were games that we let go for a lot of different reasons. We've learned from that in the sense of being able to stay, you know, maintain our composure and not get too rattled by those runs that happen because they're, you know, Sacramento's a really good team, and you know the way that they started the fourth quarter early in the year might have wrecked us a little bit because we didn't really respond well. So, you know, trying to learn our lessons and stay composed, understand it's a long game, and the biggest thing for us is when we settle down and don't turn the ball over, you know, usually good things happen. I think that's the one thing that was our Achilles heel. Not just the turnovers that we always have, but the untimely ones that, you know, allowed the game to kind of get out of hand. So we've done a better job of that in these last two games, and I think that's a big difference.
Stephanie, you guys were down at the half, come out in the third quarter, and you dominate the third quarter. Defense better, deep rebounding better. What was behind the energy that came out in that third quarter?
I mean, just a focus of executing on both ends, and understand like the pace of this series is crazy. But when you get stops, you can run, and when you keep them off the free throw line, they can't set defense, and we can kind of play to our strengths a little bit better. And a lot of that was Clay. Clay played amazing that third quarter, hitting some big shots for us. So, and the way that we finished the quarter was huge, which has been another part of our struggles in terms of, you know, a 6-point lead turning into 2, or a 2-point lead turning into a 4-point lead for them, or, you know, certain things like that. We went from, you know, to close it out the way we did that last possession, you know, allowed us to have a little bit of breathing room, even though they made that run. So those details matter.
Steph, so Andrew Wiggins got 4 blocks, including blocked Fox shot. What do you think about his defense?
Playoff Wiggs, two-way Wiggs, all the different nicknames that he's, you know, established since he's been here. He, you know, our success and influence games, not just scoring the basketball. So, you know, it's easy to forget this is only his 4th game back, in, you know, since February, and starting to find his legs and find his confidence. And his endurance to play 38 minutes and, you know, chase D Fox around all game. So you love to see it.
Thanks, Raymond. Thanks, Steph. With Clay driving and dishing out the last, you know, half of Game 3 and then again today, Steph, how much has that opened up the floor? It seemed like you guys were making so many snappy, quick passes that just led to good things.
They turned up the pressure on us to start this game. It seemed like everybody was getting pressured out to almost half court, it felt like. They were just trying to disrupt our patterns. So the lane was relatively wide open, but doesn't mean you can always get all the way to the basket. So, you know, being able to see, you know, those lanes drive, like you said, find the open guy on the weak side, that domino effect that happens. We love to play that way because usually the ball is going to find the right guy for an open shot and the easy shot. And so Clay, knowing he's such a threat to shoot the ball from the perimeter, when he's decisive, when he gets into the lane, you know, it's just another way for us to create good offense. And usually that means we're getting good shots up instead of, you know, rushing or turning it over or settling. So just got to, you know, we trust him with the ball in his hands to keep doing it.
Thank you.
No problem.
Clay, what was that last minute like? You have a pretty decent lead, and then the timeout and all the extra stuff that happened there. What were you thinking as it's all kind of happening?
It was stressful at times, but you go back to the bench when we're up 1. I mean, Steph got a great look. We'll take that any day of the week. You realize we're up 1, 10 seconds left, chance to win the game. That's all you can really ask for at that point in the game, so we didn't stress. And I'm really proud of Draymond and Steph's defense at the top of the key. I mean, HB got a great look, but that's not an easy shot, so I'm just happy that, I mean, those two guys made a great play.
First question, I got 2 questions. The first one is, what was the feeling like for you when HB's shot came off?
Oh, man. I was nervous. I'm really happy Harrison, still my guy, but I was hoping he missed it really badly. And sometimes you need a break like that at this point in the year, and it was just a gutsy win and a big defensive stop.
The other question is, you guys in the third quarter in particular came out with like a different energy on defense and rebounding. That seemed like it picked up. Was there anything said or done in addition to Draymond guarding De'Aaron?
I think so. I think Draymond being so switchable just throws a different look at Fox, and not only is he switchable, but he's so great around the rim. He's so great at getting the rebound and pushing the break. And I love that he took 14 shot attempts tonight. I mean, those layups around the rim are going to go in on Wednesday, and when he's aggressive like that, he just adds a whole new layer to our attack.
Clay, what does it say about, or what message does it send that Draymond Green would suggest that he come off the bench after starting every single playoff game since Steve's been head coach?
Oh, wow. He's a selfless player. Draymond's a winner, and he realized that last game we got great flow offensively with the 4-guard lineup, and to stagger him and Loon's minutes, I think benefited us a lot because they play very similarly as far as running the offense, with handoffs and screens, and just a big-time adjustment by the coaching staff and complete unselfishness by Draymond that allows us to try and reach our goal. That's why he's the champion he is.
Following up on Maddie's question, how rare is it to have stars of that caliber suggest it, be okay with it? Because this isn't the first time that this team has seen a major adjustment bringing a all-star starter off of the bench in the playoffs.
Yeah, just shows you that we're all about winning. I mean, starting is a huge accomplishment in itself in the playoffs, but Steph did it last year and Draymond did it this year, so hopefully we'll have the same result as last year. That'd be nice. That'd be really nice.
Clay, obviously you played well in the playoffs last year, but how differently do you feel right now as opposed to this time last year, particularly on the defensive end?
I feel great. Confidence is very high. When you've been through it so many times, you just never let the moment get too big for you. And I thought I slid my feet very nicely tonight. I thought I had some great resistance on the defensive end, not letting guys get easy buckets. And then on top of that, I'm just a very prideful player. I don't really enjoy being scored on, so I always take pride in my one-on-one defense. That's for sure.
Clay, what's the mentality you need to have in a Game 5, a swing game, knowing that Game 6, one of the teams had the chance to win this series?
Well, as good as this feels right now, it's got to be quickly forgotten about once the day's over. Now it's a best of 3. I mean, we know how great this team is on their home court. We know they feed off their crowd, so it's on us to tighten up the turnovers and play the similar defense that we did tonight and do the little things, and I think we can come out with a victory on Wednesday.
Clay, I think you played high 30s in minutes. Steph played 43. Everybody, the main guys were the main guys. Does it feel like, kind of this is, I don't know, I'm not going to say old Lions, but I just did, are just kind of like, this is on you guys still? This is still on your shoulders?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we're the ones who've been here the longest, and we got to expect big minutes this time of year, and we're happy about that. but we still trust our bench. We still trust our depth, and guys are going to make huge plays going forward to help us win games. And Draymond, Steph, and I weren't the only. We didn't win the championships. We did it as a team, and strength in numbers was a real mantra we live by. And I give our front office a ton of credit for filling out those holes every offseason of players who fit our system and want to win more than anything else. It's why we're still here competing.
Clay, that fourth quarter, that right there just, solidified that, this Splash Brother thing, this thing is for real. And this thing's been growing for about
2023? Dang. Not like.
For real.
Tens didn't help?
But
yeah.
Getting to it, though, we know it's been real for quite some time, but just, your thoughts, your commentary, playing alongside Steph, and doing these type of magical things. What's your thoughts on that, as your career has grown with his?
Well, I've admired Steph long before he was a Warrior. When he was at Davidson, I was a fan. I went and saw him play at the Honda Center in Anaheim against UCLA, and I was amazed by his skill and his ability. And then to be drafted with the Warriors and be his two guard for as long as I have been, it's been nothing short of amazing. And I just appreciate our work. I get to see it every day. I mean, the guy's in the best shape for a reason. He doesn't take shortcuts. And he's just a great family man. And he's got a beautiful family. And he's just wiser beyond his years. I feel like Steph's been the same age since 2012. So he just is a simple person, but he is a competitor. And, I mean, just to still be out here playing in playoff games with him, it's a great feeling, and these times I'll cherish for the rest of my life, and hopefully we can carve out a legacy of one of the better backcourts to play this game.
Clay, when you heard that Draymond definitely wasn't going to start, did you think, yeah, that makes sense? Like, because of what happened in the last game, what would you think of it strategically?
I mean, I thought it was a good strategy. Like I said before, with Loon and Dre playing very similar, it was probably smart to stagger their minutes a little bit, but they're also great together. And I love the ovation our crowd gave him. I love that Dub Nation has Draymond's back through everything. He's given this franchise so much, and it's incredible to think he was a 35th pick at one point, and now to go down as a player who helped change the way basketball is played as far as being a floor spacing big man who can guard every position. That's just a rare thing in basketball. So we are just grateful for Draymond's unselfishness and his leadership. He thinks the game almost better than anybody I know, so I just love competing with him.
Wiggins, after basically 2 months away, has gone 39, 34, 38 minutes the last 3 games. 4 blocks, 2 steals tonight. Does it surprise you at all? I mean, I know you know what type of athlete he is.
Yeah.
Just coming back in this form.
Yeah, I mean, it's incredible. I've been telling people this all the time. Like, he didn't play in NBA for 2 months, and he came back doing what he did. It's like, it's crazy because Wiggs doesn't look like he's trying very hard, but like you said, he has 4 blocks and 2 steals, and he doesn't ever really break a sweat. And I got to give it everything I have to have 4 blocks in a week. So for him to do that just effortlessly, like, without him, we don't, win a championship last year, and we are not the same team either this year. So we are just so grateful for Andrew, and he's an all-star, and he's an incredible two-way player. Nice.
Great, thank you.
First playoff playing. Oh my gosh. Sorry. I should have warned you.